17. I'm going to take a moment just to review a little bit. What we were talking about last time, 2 weeks ago when we were together. In Revelation chapter 17 and 18, we were talking about a very wicked city, which will exist in the end times. And the Bible calls the city Babylon. Babylon, of course, was a great city in Old Testament times. And we were talking about the idea, based on scriptures, that it will be built up again in these days leading up to the return of Jesus Christ. And, it's going to be a very wicked city. And as the days get closer to the time when Jesus returns to the earth, we know that the world is not getting better. It's getting worse. Once again, and Carol mentioned, Pakistan and the things that are going on there in the Middle East, and the violence. Here in the United States, also Philadelphia this week. Once again, the scriptures are vindicated by world events and world trends. Scriptures which talk about as the time gets nearer, it's not going to get better, it's going to get worse. Such as 2 Timothy 3:1, which says, in the last days, perilous times shall come. 2 Timothy 3:13, which says, evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse. Not better, but worse. In Matthew 24:12, it says, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. In the end times, as these days get closer. And of course, the whole book of Revelation, which we've been looking at and studying, testifies to the fact that evil will take over this planet before Jesus returns. And that's actually why Jesus will return and restore all things. So, last time we were together, we were talking a little bit about that city, Babylon. One thing we looked at was this kind of an obscure prophecy from the book of Zechariah. Remember that? Where Zechariah saw a vision of a woman, of whom it was said, of this woman, this is wickedness. The woman just personified wickedness. And when Zechariah asked, where are they taking this wickedness? The answer he got was, to build it a house in the land of Shinar. Of course, the land of Shinar is a modern-day Iraq, where the original Tower of Babel was, where the ancient city of Babylon was, where I believe the new city of Babylon will be built. This wickedness, they're taking it to the land of Shinar to build it a house, and it shall be established and set there upon her own faith. And then when we turn to Revelation 17, we saw a very wicked woman sitting upon a scarlet-colored beast. And this woman, it says, represents the city of Babylon, the future city of Babylon. It is wickedness. So tonight is our final study in this book, at least for now. There's no new progress to report in the rebuilding of Babylon. Remember, too, I pointed out last week that probably if it weren't for the first Iraq war and all the subsequent turmoil that's been going on in the country of Iraq since then, the city might be rebuilt now because Saddam Hussein was spending millions and billions of dollars and much manpower to do that very thing, rebuild the ancient city of Babylon, which is 60 miles south of Baghdad. Before he made a very bad decision to invade Kuwait in 1990, and that country has been a mess ever since then, and that whole project was shelved. So, and there's nothing new. No one is spearheading that ambition right now, but like I say, this is going to be our last Bible study tonight. But if we begin to see this city to reemerge, like I'm thinking, or if we witness other developments, like the rebuilding of the temple in Jerusalem, or maybe an alliance of 10 kings forming in the Middle East, then we'll know that the time is drawing near. And you might begin to say, okay, Greg, our interest now is pricked. Please tell us more. Maybe sometime in the future. But for now, This is going to be, we're going to wrap this up. It's going to be our last study. And in the meantime, I've just been thrilled to bring these 6 studies to you. I think you have an idea now of my approach to this book and my understanding of this final book of the Bible. And we look forward to what Brother Rick has coming up in the month of January. And there's just a lot going on in this church, and I'm just excited to be a part of it. So I have mentioned the last time, I believe, that it would be a shame if we did not ever get back to this book and we covered as much material as we already have, and concerning all the plagues of God poured out on this earth, and the judgments and the destruction, and we did not get to look at the final 2 chapters of this book, which is really, the happy ending, the perfect eternity. So tonight, we're just going to grab 1 or 2 more things from what I would call the Babylon chapters, 17 and 18. We're going to skip 19 and 20 and go ahead to the final 2 chapters, 21 and 22. That's the perfect eternity. The new heaven, the new earth, the new Jerusalem. Even if I have to just read through this part with a minimal commentary, because of the time, I would like to do that and say, hey, maybe after all the anguish and travail that we discussed in this book, both Brother Dan and myself, if we go through those last 2 chapters, we might just still finish here tonight with kind of a warm, fuzzy feeling about this book. After all, I mean, who knows? It is a happy ending. And so there is actually an interesting comparison or contrast in this book between this wicked city of Babylon, which we've been talking about, and which is Satan's city, and the city of Jerusalem in those final 2 chapters, chapters 21 and 22, which of course is God's city. And the scripture here itself presents or promotes this comparison with the wording used to introduce each city. Look at Revelation 17, verse 1. See what I'm talking about. We'll go back and forth just a little bit between Revelation 17 and Revelation 21. Revelation 17:1. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, which is the wicked city of Babylon. And then look at chapter 21 and verse 9. And see the exact same wording as God here introduces us to the city of Jerusalem, where it says, And there came unto me one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials full of the 7 last plagues, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show thee the bride, the Lamb's wife. So it really sets up this comparison. One angel, probably the same angel, saying, Come here, and I'm going to show you this wicked city. And then later he comes and says, Come hither, and I will show you this holy, pure city of God. And then it is an interesting comparison between, and if we had more time, we could go through detail upon detail. But go back to 17 and verse 2, where it says, talking about Babylon again, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. And then in chapter 21, 24, it says, And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. So the wicked city which contaminated the nations and the kings of the earth, Babylon, in stark contrast, this new Jerusalem, the holy city, the nations will bring their glory unto it, and the kings of the earth. And last of all, verse 3 in Revelation 17 says, So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And 21 and verse 10. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God. So in both of these, the angel carries them away, one into the wilderness to see the wicked city of Babylon, the other one is carried away to a great and high mountain to see the holy city of Jerusalem. So a real interesting comparison and contrast there. And like I said, if we had more time, we could get into more detail about this. But now, we're just going to move quickly through these chapters. Like I said, and wrap this whole thing up tonight. So in chapter 17 then, in chapter 17, you know, they say that Revelation is a difficult book to understand, but there's so much symbolism used. And I've been trying to kind of say that, you know, to some extent, we make it harder than it really is sometimes. But I'll tell you what, in chapter 17, in verses 7 through 11, it doesn't get any more difficult, any thicker than it is right here. This is just, there's symbolism, and it's just incredibly difficult to understand. Just listen to these verses, Revelation 7 through 11. After John sees this vision of the woman, and she's sitting upon the beast. Now the beast is the Antichrist, the woman is Babylon. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore did thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. So it makes it sound like I'm going to explain all this to you and you'll understand it. But listen to this explanation. The beast which thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not, and yet is. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. So there it is, all explained, and easy to understand for you. And that is just, that's about as deep as it gets right there. And I mean, I have some ideas about this, but it would probably be counterproductive to even try to teach it, especially in a limited time. So we're just going to bypass that. And I do want to spend just about a minute talking, though, about these 10 kings. In the next verse, verse 12, it says, And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Now that sounds pretty harmonious, doesn't it? Like Satan has a well-oiled machine here. They're all of one mind, and they're giving their heart and their mind to the beast and their kingdom. Well, no, it's not really quite like that. According to the book of Daniel, in chapter 7, after these 10 kings come into being and form their alliance, another little horn, which is the Antichrist, and which is the same thing as the beast here, he comes up among them, it says. The 10 kings are there first, and he comes up, and he takes 3 of them, he takes out 3 of them, it says, and subdues them, and plucks them up by the roots. So he probably, in some kind of military operation or something, he goes there and wipes them out, and either they become subservient to him and pledge their allegiance to him, or he just replaces them with his own people or something. But it never goes. It says he subdues 3, but it never goes down to 7. There's always 10 of them. So, but anyhow, it's not one big happy family. Is what I'm saying. He goes in there and he destroys 3 of them. So now he's got 3 of them under his control, and because it's all a big power struggle, which we know. If you know anything about how the world goes, especially the unsaved world and the things of the kingdoms and entities of Satan, it's all a big power struggle, and there's much infighting going on. So for a time, this Antichrist has power and authority over 3 of them. But there comes a point when all 10 of them agree it would be to their advantage to give their allegiance to him. And so, that's where we pick it up in Revelation, and it seems like they're all just happy to follow him, but I'm sure it's because it's most advantageous to them at that time. Now, we've talked in the past about how Islam may fit into these biblical prophecies of the end time. And notice a few instances where it'd be like, this could be talking about that, and it fits. And here again, the amount of violent infighting in the Islamic world is just incredible. I mean, you talk about infighting and power struggles. It's all over the place. I read not too long ago an article about a man who had defected from the al-Nusra, however you pronounce it, a terrorist group in Iraq and Syria, and they're the Islamic State, and they're always fighting each other. And he said, I shared this before, I don't know. He said he had just had enough of it because he went in there, they're supposed to be fighting the Syrian government, trying to overthrow the Syrian government, but now they're fighting each other so much, and he just got sick and tired of having to kill his Islamic brothers in the Islamic State, and he had enough. And so he quit, and they're fighting each other. And a few days later, a week later, I read again where those two terrorist groups have decided to unite now and join forces, and now now they're friends, and now they were joined together to fight the Syrian government or whoever they're going to fight. So it just goes on and on like that. Whatever is advantageous at the moment, but there's all this infighting and then agreements. Okay, we'll fight together, and all these power struggles, and it just goes on and on and on. And that's just a small example of these two splinter groups of Al-Qaeda, which is part of the Sunni brand of Islam. I mean, it's just so many different divisions and sects. And of course, the Sunnis and the Shiites, they just hate each other passionately, right? Those are the two big groups that really hate each other. Now, look at chapter 17 and verse 16, because the epitome of the cutthroat infighting takes place there. Chapter 17 and verse 16. We got these 10 horns, and we got the city of Babylon. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, which is Babylon, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So Babylon is the city of Satan, which the beast, the Antichrist, uses big time to promote himself and to worship and for the worship of his image, and among other things, to martyr all the Christians of the earth, like it says in chapter 17 and verse 6. It says, the woman, and I saw the woman, that's Babylon again, drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. So this city is doing all this. It is an agent of Satan. It is an agent of the beast. I mean, it is the enemy. And then there are these 10 kings, which are also completely sold out to the beast. They've given everything to him. And the 10 kings and the city of Babylon hate each other. I mean, they're on the same side, but they're not on the same side. But it's just all this infighting, again, power struggles, and again, the idea that this could be Islam that Satan is using in the end times, as this end time religion, to bring worship to him and to persecute the rest of the world and destroy Christians. Again, it fits. It's another element of it, I think, that fits. The infighting and the power struggles and all that goes on there. Islam could very well be the instrument Satan uses to reach his objective, his goal, his desire to be worshipped as God. Remember this. It's not about this whole thing, this whole end times thing, even if it is Islam, it's not about Islam, it's not about Sunni or Shiite or anything. It's all about Satan becoming like the Most High. Isaiah 14:14 is where he says that is what he wants to be, like the Most High. And this is what this is all about. So it's all about Satan's selfish desires, and Satan is not a Muslim, right? I mean, but he will use whatever means will bring him to the worship of the world. For as long as that means, he will use whatever means will bring him the worship of the world. For as long as that means serves his end. As long as that means serves his end, he'll use it. And then, when it's no longer effective, he will turn and mercilessly destroy it. Just like it's described here in verse 16. Because that is what evil does. It uses, and then it turns and rends and destroys. It is just wickedness and evil. And I hope everyone understands this. And these times that we are living in now, like I said, it's not getting better. It's getting worse. And there may be persecution coming for us, too. As you see this wickedness coming. And I appreciate it. I like what Brother Mike said at the end of the service Sunday. It wasn't really this context or anything about persecution. But just to say, you know what? Just for someone to stand up and say, hey, this is what's going on, and this is what we need to do. And the idea that the time is over for, just coming into church and, hoping to hear a nice little message about how we should be like Jesus and to sit on our hands. And that's what Brother Mike would say. The time is over. And these times that we're living in are wicked and evil. And it's not the 1950s anymore, And I think Mike was on to something. We need to get involved and everybody be active because, we don't know what's coming up. Does anybody realize, for example, that right now the President of the United States of America hates this country, hates everything that we love and hold dear, and about our country, about our heritage, and about our faith, and about our Bibles. He hates it, and he is doing anything that he can get away with. The more he can get away with, the more he'll do. He's doing everything he can get away with to destroy it. So these are the times we're living in, and it's time to understand the evil in this world, and that it's not getting better, it is getting worse and worse. Now, chapter 18 in Revelation is all about the sudden destruction of the city of Babylon and about the reaction of those who were made rich by all the merchandising of the city. This wicked city, people get filthy rich off of this city, merchandising, and we began to speculate a little bit last time we were together, but at least some of this merchandising might involve. If you were here last time, I won't get into all that again, but it's just perversion and wickedness. And I'm just going to go ahead and then read through some of this in chapter 18 and let you hear some of it without a lot of commentary. And but listen to this. And God, it's the 10 kings actually who destroyed the city of Babylon. But God uses that instrument of evil to destroy another instrument of evil. It actually says that in 17. It says, "For God has put in their hearts to fulfill His will." He put in the hearts of 10 kings to go and destroy this other city. One wicked thing destroying another wicked thing, but it's for God's purposes. But destruction of this wicked city is going to be very quick, very sudden. It almost sounds like maybe nuclear. I don't know, but it's like in 1 hour, the whole place is just wiped out. I don't know how that happened, but and it is devastating to all the world because all the world is fed off the wickedness of this city. Verse 1. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And then I'm going to skip down to verse 9. And the kings of the earth, who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, shall bewail her and lament for her when they see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all fine wood and all manner vessels of ivory and all manner vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. Wicked too. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things, which were made rich by her, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city, that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, for in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. And every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors and as many as trade by sea stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? One thing I love to do is just read the scriptures out loud. I just love to read the scriptures out loud. And have you ever noticed, I just want to say this, have you ever noticed how the King James Bible has a certain rhythm to it? Kind of like a built-in cadence, where the words just flow. Where often the number of syllables in adjoining lines match to give it that harmony when it's read properly. And this verse we just read here. I guarantee you that it's not just a coincidence. It's not just a coincidence. It's because some 50 of the greatest scholars of that time, early 1600s, spent 7 years going over every single line, every verse, every word, striving not only for an accurate translation to the Greek and Hebrew, from the Greek and Hebrew, but also striving for a literary masterpiece in the English language. And I think they accomplished that. It's just a beautifully written book, and it does. It has this harmony, this flow to it. The way the words, they set up it, they separate into different committees, and they each take a portion of the Bible and they go over it and over it, looking for the great, just the right word choice and the right rhythm and the right translation. And then when they finished it, they pass it on to another company. 7 years, you know, they did that. And there was hardly any money involved. There wasn't no money for the copyright, none of that stuff. They just did it to have a great